folks. Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, or whatever time you're viewing this clip. Today we're going to look at the CVP formula. As you would have known that we have resorted to online tests at this time. So I'm going to please ask you to watch the video carefully. Pause the video as you go along. Zoom. You can zoom in the video as you go along if you so desire to. But just watch carefully and write notes as much as possible. The document here will be uploaded to your Moodle account, to Moodle, where you will have access to it as well. Now, we look at CVP formula now. It says that CVP analysis is a logical extension of break-even analysis. Additionally, additional costs can be added to the numerator of the CVP equations in addition to normal fixed costs. These additional costs are evaluated relative to the contribution margin to determine the sales revenue level necessary to cover the costs. As was the case with the break-even analysis, CVP uses two similar equations. CVP, that means you calculate for sales revenue, and you're going to calculate for what? Sales units. So you're going to calculate for dollars, which is revenue, and into units. The formula for this is required sales equal fixed costs plus operating income, which would have been which is before tax, meaning the amount before you take out tax, plus net fixed costs divided by contribution margin percentage or units. It is necessary to identify the term to include the potential added cost items. Operating income identifies operating income profit before tax. This identification is used on income statements and contribution margin income statements and in general discussion to indicate income before tax. Profit before tax is also substituted for what? Operating income. Operating income defines income before tax as sales revenue minus cost of goods sold, which after that you get a what? Gross margin, and then minus the gross margin from you minus operating expenses from your gross margin, and that gives you operating income. Operating income before tax minus tax give you what? Your net income. Now, using information from Exhibit 8.1, we begin with CVP break-even analysis by using the same figures we used earlier in the discussions of graphs. Now, I'm going to go above back to Exhibit 8.1 for you to know what I'm talking about. So, give me a little minute there. Let me pause the video a bit. Look at this carefully. You realize that our income before tax is what? Zero, right? Good? This is zero. Why? Here you have operating income before tax, which is 10,000, which would have been a negative income, which would be a loss really. But then you have other income which is added to it, give you what? Zero. Now let us put this zero in our formula. And the formula says fixed cost plus what? Plus, in this case, the formula would have, or formula is what? Fixed cost plus operating income plus what? New fixed cost divided by what? Contribution margin, percentage, or units. Now in this case, we don't have any new fixed costs. We have fixed cost which is 362,800, and we have what? Zero in net income. Good. Now the 1 minus the contribution margin percentage is what? 1 minus what? Variable cost percentage, which you already know before. If you go back to your previous notes, you'd have seen that before. Alright? And when you would have done all of that, please note that this 63% that you have here, what you should be really doing is to change this 63% to a what? Decimal. Good? So what you could do then, I'll show you a thing. You could divide 63.1, watch this now, by 100, and that would equal to a figure of 0.631, and then you divide the 362,800 by 0.631, and you get the what? 574,960, right? And that would give you your break even in what? Sales revenue. We can use either the percentage, as I said before, or decimal figure in the denominator, right? It's important to remember that data being used to forecast break even and CVP are generally estimates. Therefore, therefore, break even is really our best estimate. Here's a scenario. You might this exam to figure out as well. At what level of sales revenue will operating income be? 39,000. That means what level of sales revenue will you need to have an operating income of what? $39,000. Alright? Now we can use that now, that equation now at our top. Remember the equation? Let's let, let's what let's remind you. The equation says what? Required sales equal what? Fixed cost plus operating income before tax plus what? New fixed cost divided by what? Contribution margin percentage or units. Remember, in this example, we have what? Fixed cost and we have what? Operating income, but we don't have any new fixed costs. Please watch carefully as I go through. Alright? Now, in this case, now, the answer would be required sales revenue equal what? 92,800 plus operating income, which is 39,000, and you get 1 minus 36.9%. In this case, now you divide this would be a what? Contribution margin the contribution margin percentage. You divide the figure right here by it, and you get this would now be the amount of sales now which you would need, good, to get a profit of what? $39,000. Alright? Okay? Good. You can always pause the video and go back and rewind if you wish to do so. Here's another problem that could be solved by using the CVP formula. How much more sales revenue increase to cover our new fixed costs? This is a new formula, right? So you have here you require sales revenue would equal to what? Old fixed cost plus new fixed cost plus what? Operating income. That would be a formula if you are asked to find what? If you are asked to find, go again. If you are asked to find, if you are asked to find how much sales revenue, by how much sales revenue should increase to cover what? A new fixed cost. Now, look at this. Let's look at this scenario together. All right. Suppose we wish to increase our advertising by $5,000 per year. What additional sales revenue level must be generated to provide $5,000 of added cost and maintain the operating income at the present level of 24,400? First, we can find the new required sales revenue and subtract the original sales revenue from it to determine the required sales to determine the required increase in what? Sales revenue, right? So look at this now. So remember, we have our present operating income is what? 24,400, good. But we are adding a what? New fixed costs. So we're gonna add our old fixed costs, which is in this case is what? 362,800. Then we're gonna add the what? New fixed cost, which is now what? 5,000 plus the operating income and divide by our contribution margin. And that now, so therefore, we now have a figure of 621,553. This would now be we would have to this would be the amount that we'd have to have for sales in order to cover what? The additional fixed costs. Good. But the question is asked, by how much must sales revenue be increased to cover this additional cost? What will you do to find out that in this case? The solution tells us that sales revenue should be what? 621,553 to provide for the fixed costs, added costs, and what? Operating income. The sales level increased by what? 8,353 from the previous level of what? 613,200, which was the previous period. Alright? To find the number of additional rooms that must be sold, we must what? Average room rate of $40 from exhibit 8.1. So you divide this amount, the amount by it which is supposed to be increased by what? $40. Good? Meaning the amount of rooms that we should rent now to get this revenue in to cover the fixed costs, additional fixed costs. Alright? So now in this case now would have to rent out what? 200 and what? 9 rooms. Alright? Now note that since we can't sell a part of a room, it is suggested we round a partial room up rather than down from 208.9 to 209, because if you're above 5, you know, say you must what? Add 1 to the previous number. If you provide 209 additional rooms by 25 operating days, a little less than what additional room per day must be what? Sold. If more than 209 rooms can be sold, not only will we pay for the advertising costs and additional variable costs per room occupied, but we will also what? Increase operating income as well. In the problem just discussed, we work the solution by evaluating additional sales revenue required, which was then converted to what? Rooms to be sold. We could have answered this question working directly with the what? Room data only. So, what about multiple changes now? So far, only single changes have been considered. Multiple changes can be handled in the same way with no difficulties. For example, let us assume we are going to spend $5,000 more on advertising, that our housekeepers are to get 20% wage increase, and we now want our operating income to be what? $40,000 rather than 24,400. What must our revenue level be? That's the question. Combining all these changes into one equation, we have fixed costs plus what? New fixed costs plus what? Operating income. Alright? Now in this case now, notice that our figure for variable cost percentage has gone down to what? 38.9%. Oh, sorry, has increased to 38.9%, right? The reason for this is that because of the 20% wage increase. Good? Good? Follow me? Alright. I must go backtrack a little bit. The 38.9% was not because of the wage increase, alright? My apologies. I should not have said such. Alright? My apologies about that. I'm going to show you where the increase from 36.9% came from. Let me backtrack a little bit in this question. Now, look at this. Let us look at how this works now. Variable cost per unit is almost $14.77, right? Originally, average sale per unit is $40, right? Now, look at this now. Variable cost percentage now is what? 36.9%. Good. We divide the $14.77, which is, remember that the $14.77 is what? Variable cost per unit, right? You divide that amount by the what? Average selling price or sales price per unit. Remember that example we looked at before, where you divide to get your variable cost percentage, you divide variable cost per unit by average selling price or sales price per unit. Alright? Remember that? Good? Now in this case now, that would have given our original 36.9%, which we would have been working with. Now included in the 14.77 variable cost per unit is the cost of what? Wages of a housekeeper to clean the unit. Suppose the hourly wage rate for housekeepers, including all benefits, is what? $8 an hour. And a housekeeper takes 1.5 hours to what? Clean a room. Therefore, $4 of the $4.77 variable cost per room sold is for what? Wages and what? Benefits. Let us assume a 20% increase in what? Housekeepers' wages. Look at this now. We must say original $4 original, right? Plus 20% of 400, meaning you're gonna add 20% of the $4, which is 0.80. You get what? 4.80. So this now would have been the what? New rate for what? Wages for housekeepers. Good? Good? Now remember that that was originally in the what? The $4 was originally in the what? 14.77. Good? Alternatively, we could say that our variable cost per unit is going to go up by what? 80 cents. And will now be 14.77 plus what? 80 cents will give us what? $15.55 and 57 cents. Now this now is our new what? Variable cost per unit. And due to the fact that this has increased, we're gonna have a new variable cost percentage. So you will divide this variable cost per unit now, new one, by what? The by the average selling price per unit. You get a new variable cost percentage of what? 38.9%. No, makes us have it like this. So we can now use this to answer the question. What must my new level of revenue be if my other fixed costs do not change? My profit must not drop. But housekeepers' wages are going to what? Increase by 20%. Good? In this case now, you'd have had it like this. Fixed cost plus other income. You have 1 minus variable cost percentage. And then you would do your calculation, and that would give you a figure of 633,715,000. Good? Now remember this note. This we have changed now from what? 36.9 to what? 38.9%. Good? That's the reason why they change, because of a 20% increase. That in because of a 20% increase in wages for housekeeper. Just look, watch, rewind if you want to rewind, no problem. No, we are working the same 20% increase, but we are adding in something there. Now, one, advertising is what? 5,000 more. Housekeeper 20% increase, right? Which will give you the 38.9%. And now we want an income of what? $40,000. What must be our sales revenue in this case? You might wonder and say this is a halabaloo, but not necessarily. Let's look at it now. This is a solution for this one. You would add the fixed cost plus the what? New fixed cost, which is 5,000, plus the what? Operating income, which you want, which is the targeted net profit in this case. And add those, you divide everything, you get what? So therefore your sales will be what? $667,430. Please don't laugh at my stuttering. Listen to the video carefully, watch and observe. Alright? So in this case now, we'll use the contribution margin income statement now to double check and to verify what we did was correct. Good? The revenue is what? 667. They multiply the variable cost. You find the variable cost by what? Multiplying the sales revenue by the what? Variable cost percentage. You get 259,630. Subtract that, you get what? 407,800. Then you less the fixed cost. I get what? 40,000. What this shows us that that our sales figure that we got is correct. So the contribution margin income statement is used to check the calculation that you have done for your what? Sales revenue or otherwise. Good. How can you convert the sales revenue level directly into what? Units. How can I do that? Now in the question used so far, the denominator has been what? As follows: 100% minus what? Variables cost as a percentage of sales revenue. The resulting net figure in the denominator is referred to as what? Contribution margin. In other words, if sales revenue is 100% and variable costs are 38.9%, then 61.1% of revenue is available as a contribution toward fixed costs and profit. 61.1% figure is the contribution margin percentage. The contribution margin can be expressed as a dollar amount rather than as a what? Percentage figure. For example, the model motel's average room rate is $40 and the variable cost, assuming an increase in housekeepers' wages, is what? $15.57 per room. Therefore, the contribution margin is what? 24.43 minus 50. Oh, you get this? You would subtract 15.57 from what? 40, meaning you would subtract your variable cost from your what? Selling price per unit. And you will get your contribution margin. Good? Per unit, which I gave you before. In fact, the general equation for sales level, either revenue or units, can be simplified like this. So fixed cost plus what? Operating income. And you have selling price per unit minus what? Variable cost per unit. This will give you what? Contribution margin. Please note that, alright? The contribution margin is an important figure for any hospitality operations manager to know because it shows how much of the sale of each item is available to cover fixed costs and provide a profit. Good? So I'm going to pause right here for now, and then when in the next clip we will pick up from here. Enjoy watching further.